Nothing you really have to write for that, so I'm just gonna put this one on the board so you can see the numbers better. Whoops. Or oh, did anybody say? And so I'll give you like 2 minutes and we'll start going with that. I'm not even gonna do it 10. It's 10 take too long. Don't even have time to do it. I'll just play with them manually. Oh, that's what you need. 1, 2, 3, 4, 12, 13, 14, 15, 21, 22, 23, 24. All right, earbuds off, headphones. I don't want to see headphones. No more of the half on, half off thing. If they don't want to see them if they walk in a room, and I don't want them to see it if they walk in a room. I just count until we cross down. Put it up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 20, 1, 2, 3, 24. 24, 24, 22. Probably remember who. I just know how many. Man, we got all kinds of people switching their seats up today. Also, we got lots of people out. Oh, yeah, a bunch of them. Sometimes I have luck with these. We'll see. All right, if you don't have a phone up, please. I don't want to see any phones. If you don't have a calculator, try to find one around you. If you don't have one, I have a couple up here. A calculator. So I'll give you another minute. You haven't finished it. Main thing, just set up the equation. That's the main thing. You can practice the algebra on your own. Although I will say on this quiz, algebra was the biggest problem on this quiz. A lot of you got 70s because you can't do algebra. We'll do it over again. That's on you. We will not learn algebra in this class. Not like in the class. You will have problems where you need to know it, but you can't teach it. I did a video already teaching it. All right, so if you have 2 endpoints on a line segment, we put a point between those. What's the concept you need to know? That's it. That whole quiz, the quiz in red, the quiz that is due this Friday was little plus little equals big. That was every single question. I mean, it's only 2 questions. Man, uh-oh. What did I do with that? So that means the length of, oh, I'm still recording it. That means the length of. That is the length of it. Doesn't matter what it looks like. Again, you're still struggling with that. You just got to accept it. That you got to memorize it. That's the length of it. If it's an angle, it's got a degree symbol. That's the measure of it. Got to accept that because it's going to be the rest of this year that you see it. This again, means the length of. That is the length of it. And then this one's a little more straightforward. The length of it. That's the length. There. So I sometimes give you the information like that over there, not in the figure. Sometimes I give it to you in the figure. I do that because I don't know which way they're going to give it to you. So I'll try to show you a couple different versions. Blue 3x. So it could also look like this. That's a horrible 31. There. So it could also look like that. But what you need to know, no matter how they give you the, I mean, you can write it in the figure that they give you if it's on a like a test where you can't use the booklet, like the district tests or the EOC or something. Because when we do the district, we have to do the district module 1 test probably next week. They yelled at me yesterday because I had to run it. I will only have one set of the test. You won't be able to write on the test. You'll have to use your own paper for it, and you're going to turn that in because I'm going to use it for a grade. Holding it close to the desk. Huh? You don't have anything in your left hand? No. No. You're sitting up front, man. You're never going to be able to hide up front. So, drawing the picture out on that paper, filling the information in the picture, I think is helpful. If you can do it without that, that's fine. Regardless, though, that is the length of that segment. That is the length of that segment. That is the little, I guess I could write that in. That's the little and the lit. Please don't crash. Okay, good. That's the little there. That's the little there. And then the big is the 31. You just add those two things together and set them equal to the big. You, though, then have to know how to do the algebra. So the little is 3x plus, or subtract 2. Plus 5x plus 9 equals 31. They are not equal. Do not set them equal. A lot of people just are starting to immediately go to setting stuff equal. That's not always what you do. Sometimes it is. Sometimes it's not. You have to know when they are equal and when to add them together and set them equal to something else. The algebra, I think if we solved it out, came out to be x was 3. But here, so if you did not get a 100 on that, but you got a 7, the red quiz. The majority of people that got a 70, well, really almost, I mean, I don't think there's any other way to get a 70 except for these two things. Either you didn't know how to do the algebra from here. All you did was set up the equation and you got the algebra wrong. Or you did a fantastic job at the algebra and you said, perfect, nailed it, x equals 3. Correct answer. Problem is, what did I ask for? I didn't ask for x. I want to know what this equals, AB. You actually got more points if you messed up the algebra and got x wrong, but you remembered to plug x back in, even though it was the wrong number, you remembered to plug it back in and solve for AB. That got you more points than getting x correct and not even giving me the answer to the question, because technically you never answered the question. So the math will not cost you as much as forgetting that last step. So make sure you go back and ask yourself, have I answered the question? Have I done what I was asked? Very rarely will we end. Sometimes on exit tickets, just because of time, I want to keep those to like only 5 minutes or so. But on quizzes, on district stuff, state stuff, like you're normally going to go back and plug that in or why or whatever. So I think it was what? 7, is that right? 3 times 3 is 9. Yeah, so I think you did it all the way out into the 7. All right, so that's if you have a 40 or below on that quiz, you owe me tutoring. You need to go to G2. G2 is now open lunch and after school. So they haven't been open after school up until yesterday, this first day. So you can go to them. I did a tutoring, kind of I think you guys knew about it though. It was a last second tutoring or last minute decision yesterday. I did that at lunch. I had quite a few people here, but not tons and plenty of open seats. So that opportunity is gone. I'm not doing any more tutoring for that red quiz. You can come in and take it today at lunch, tomorrow at lunch, Friday at lunch, or after school Friday. That's the only day you can do it after school is Friday. Any questions on that or retakes or anything? So in your books, you should have a book. If you didn't get it, grab your books. You should always get books. Like if you don't use it, you don't use it, but always get it on your way in because I'm moving forward. I'm not waiting on you to get a book. It's page 103 in your books. Oh, the other question was, what is a surface? So what's a surface? What's that mean? Definition, English. What's a surface? Is it flat? That's actually the one thing I wanted to talk about. Does surface have anything to do with it being flat? Doesn't, right? We said a plane is flat. So a plane is a surface. Like what we learned about planes, three-dimensional objects. This object has three planes going around it, and it has a base as well. Those are planes. They're also surfaces. So a plane is a surface, but you don't have to be flat to be a surface. For example, the outside of this cylinder is a surface. The wrapper, if you want to think about the wrapper. That's a surface. It's not flat. It's definitely curved, but it's a surface. Cone. Think about a cone. Like think about that curved part that goes up to the point. That is a surface. The outside shell. Shell is a pretty good word to think about surface. A sphere. Think about a ball, like the covering of a ball. It could even be a football. Like the covering is its surface. The surface. Connected to that. He asked earlier, and I said, if he gets to go, you can go after him. All right. So with that in mind, look at your formula sheet now. If you don't have one, look around you. There should be a bunch of them floating around. I don't have one. You get formulas for, so this first shape is a rectangular prism. Rectangular prism. So definition of a prism is it has two bases that are the exact same shape. So the bottom and top of this are the exact same shape. Now, really, for a rectangular prism, you have a whole bunch of sides that are the exact same shape. The left and the right, top and bottom, front and back. So you could argue that, any of those two sides are bases. This kind of depends on how the figure looks. It'll all come out correctly in the end. But for a cylinder, which is, if you'll notice, the cylinder formulas are exactly the same as the prism formulas. They're in the same area of the sheet. You have two bases that are the same as well. That is the exact same size circle as that is. That's what makes it a cylinder. That's what makes it a prism if it's of like all the sides are flat sides. So you have to know what the shape is. I will not tell you on a quiz, oh yeah, that's a prism, or that's a cone, or that's a pyramid, or that's a cylinder. You have to know what the shape is so that you can then find the formula. And then once you find the formula, so now look at the formula for prism for surface area and volume, which is what we're about to talk about. I'm going to go fast through both of them. They do not give you all of the numbers that you need. They don't give you those three things. It's not just a matter of looking at the image and plugging stuff into that formula. You have to understand, how do I calculate some of the numbers? The height they will typically give you unless you're solving the height, which I can have to read. But you will always have to calculate the capital B, the capital P. And there is called a legend. It defines what all the variables mean. So the capital B means the area of a base. Now you'll notice, and we'll get to this tomorrow, there's also a little b, which says base. So make sure you understand the difference between those two. So based on, shouldn't say that, but depending on what shape the base is, that's what determines how you calculate the area of that base. If the base is a rectangle, what's the formula for the area of a rectangle? Area of a rectangle. Oh, come on. This is meant to just move forward. So rhetorical question. What's the formula? Nobody goes to the bathroom until we get this right. Yeah, that's what I thought. What's the formula for the area of a rectangle? Just did it. Last class. And maybe the class before that. It's not on there. This is the one I said you have to remember. Remember when we did Perimeter, I said when we did perimeter and area in the last quiz that I haven't graded, you just did it. Said you have to know the formula for the area of a rectangle. You have to know the formula for the area of a triangle. And you have to know that perimeter is just adding the sides in. Well, that was the way you found the length of the side, that a squared, b squared, c squared. But this is something you learn like forever ago. You're thinking too much. Area of a rectangle. As soon as I draw it, you'll all get it. No. What is the area of that rectangle? 8 and 4. 32. So what'd you do? It's base times height. We did this. Again, you guys have got to put some effort in. This is why I'm making phone calls on right here. Yeah, they didn't know the area of a rectangle, sir, ma'am. So the area of a rectangle is just the length times width, base times height. Either one works. The perimeter of it, there's a formula, but you're basically just, I totally wrote the numbers in those. So the perimeter would just be adding all four sides up, or there was a formula 2 times the width plus 2 times the length. What about, so perimeter, again, you'd have to know how to find the perimeter of the object that you're talking about. Actually, it's the perimeter of the base, I think. It just says perimeter, but yeah, you need to understand that's perimeter of the base. So they don't really tell you that in the formula, but you're going to need to know the perimeter of the base. So again, you can't write it on these sheets. I have sheets, by the way. I've never really mentioned it. I have sheets you can take notes on, but you will not get that. You can't use that during the quiz. You'll get this copy with nothing on it. So it's the perimeter of the base. So you're just, in some cases, you just add all the sides up. But what if that's the base? How do you find the perimeter of that? Base is a circle now. I don't have sides to add up. Try to find it. Anthony, right? Really? Yeah, you had a good grade over there, so I'm expecting big things out of you over here. How do I find the perimeter of that? We talked about perimeter of a circle. I'll give you hints. There's no perimeter of a circle on that sheet. There is the formula you need, but it's not perimeter. What's perimeter mean? It's just a pattern. What specifically? It's the one. That's a circle. It's not a great one. What's the perimeter of a circle? That's pretty close. It's the length of that line. So if I started here and I could measure the length of the line that makes the circle, that's the same thing as perimeter. But what's the word in a circle we said? So we use that formula for perimeter when the base is a circle. So cone, when we do a cone, when we do a cylinder, you will need to know, and you do get the formulas for a circle. You don't get rectangle and triangle, but you do get the formulas for a circle, as you can see right there. Area also, when you have to find the area of a circle, you'll have that. And you will have to find the area of a circle when you need to find the area of a base. So area of the base will be area of a circle. So they will never be just giving you the area of the base or the perimeter. You have to know, okay, well, what is the base? What part of the figure is the base? In this case, a circle. Okay, well, then I need to go to the circle formulas to find the area of that base and the perimeter of that base. And you need to know, you might want to write this in too in your notes. For a circle, perimeter is circumference. Use circumference for the perimeter of the circle. Like I said, if you want to grab tomorrow, we'll do a lot more with formula sheet. So tomorrow, if you want to grab one of these to kind of practice with and write notes directly on that, I will let you go since you're the only one that got that right. But again, you know what that means when you get that stuff right? It just means you just raise my expectations again. Now I expect you to do well tomorrow. All right, so here's what I want you to try. Oh God, I'm going to show you this really fast. This takes a minute to show, but surface area, really, you can use the formulas. But if you're kind of intuitive and you're just like you don't always practice and you don't always put a lot of effort into doing a bunch of problems, all surface area really is, it's the area of all the surfaces added together. So if I have, again, this is, rectangular prism. If I want to know what surface area is, it's literally the area of every surface added together. But what's every surface on here? That surface, that surface, what shape are those? It is rectangle, right? So I could just find the area of every rectangle. We just said that's length times width. I can find the area of this. Well, once I find the area of this, I know the area of this. Once I find the area of this, I know the area of that. Once I find the area of that, I know the area of that. Find those. Like I said, you really just have to do it 3 times, and then you have 3 more of them. And then you just add them all together. That's really all surface area is. So if you get that, this shape's pretty easy to do that with. Some of the other shapes not quite as easy. Some of them you can't really do it. Volume is sort of similar. If I know the area of this is 10, all I'm really doing, and this is where the 2D versus 3D comes into play, 2 dimensions is flat. I have a piece of paper, or if I just had the bottom of this, that's 2 dimensions. But if I lay it down and I stack stuff up, I'm adding a 3rd dimension. That's where 3D comes from. Height is the 3rd dimension. So if that's 10, and I stack a bunch of 10s on top to build it up, just adding 10 every time, all I'm really doing is saying, okay, well, that's 10, and I add that a height of 20 of those, I'm really just saying 20 times 10. That's where the formula comes from on your sheet. It's the area of the base times the height for volume of a cylinder or rectangle. So here's what I want you to do. I use the other shape. This one's probably better to use. I want you to find the surface area and volume for that rectangular prism. I don't care if you do what I just did and try to intuitively figure it out. You want to go straight to the formula sheet, just understand you have to, those numbers, you got to do more with those numbers than just plug them into a formula. You have to solve for something else. Well, so I'm going to give you, what time do we get? 54. I want to do a cylinder also, so I'll give you 4 minutes to do that. Both of those. So again, if you don't get completely finished, either try one way or another. You should be able to get surface area, especially if you do it the way where you just find the area of each side, which is rectangles. I'm not going to do a sentence recording. We'll practice a lot tomorrow. So tomorrow is going to be a big practice day. We were supposed to have a block today, like our normal schedule, so I was going to do less, and the second half was going to be a lot of practice, but skinny every day. And now we're back to lunch after 5th period. How long has it been on? 3 minutes now? So if that was 3 minutes, I said that for 4. Yes. What's the area of the top side? Top of that. What's the area of the top of that? Yeah, so if you're not sure how to write those numbers to be able to figure out the area of the top, this, obviously 10 is pretty easy, but this side right here is the same as this side. So that would be a 4. So 10 times 4 would be 40 from the top. So the area of the right side, you kind of have those two numbers. That's not too bad. What's the area of the front side? What am I using? Trey, what am I using for the front side?
You mean like
No, front side would be this side. This is the right, the way I'm calling it, like you may have called it, but this would be the right side, as I said, but that's the 4 and the 6. So what would the front side be? Wait, no, not true. Then 6, because again, 10's pretty obvious because it's the longest side. That's easy to see. This side here, though, is the 6. The 6 wraps all the way around. The 4 wraps all the way around that way. So this would be 4, 4, 4, and 4. I'm going to write them in, but some kids got confused by that, so I wanted to kind of go over it before I show you what I would say. And then we'll also do the formula, just so you have both ways recorded, first of all. I'm not letting you go anywhere if you don't try. Yeah, perfect. Give up. If you're not working for me, I'm not gonna let you sit here and go to the bathroom. You really got to go. You need to put some work in. That's the good news. You want it or do you have a question? That's it. We're back to this class. All right, so it's about to go off. I'm just going to tell you what I would do. I would write in the numbers all over the figure. Every side that I see, I would write how long I think it is. Hopefully, you know. This 4 wraps around. Remember, they're all rectangles. Opposite sides of a rectangle are congruent. So that has to be 4. Shoot for him. On. All right. The 6 wraps around this way. Like that's the height all the way around. If it's the height on the right, it's the height everywhere. So I'm not going to write it for the lines in the back that we can't see. Oh, it's me. So this line going up and down, that line going up and down. Now again, you're not going to use all of these numbers. You only need 2 because area is length times width. I'm just trying to make it easy for myself when I go to do an area so I can immediately see what numbers I need. Oh, and then this would have been 4 over here. I'm not going to worry about doing the back numbers because sometimes they won't have the little dash lines. You won't even be able to see the back sides. So now, length times width for every side. Well, top side, I know is 40. We've already talked about them, so I'm just going to do them. The right side, 6 times 4. Right, I did right first, but yeah, the front side would be 60. So these are my 3 sides. But what's true about those sides? What else do I have? Yeah, they have an opposite side, right? So every single one of those has a duplicate. So I can say top is 40, which means the bottom is 40. Right is 24, which means the left is 24. And then what have I missed? Left, right, front. No, couldn't think of it. Front is 60, which means the back. So that's the area of each side, each surface. So total surface area is just all those added together. So that'd be 100, 248. 248 is what you should have gotten for surface area. So we're going to come back and do it using the formula in a second. But that, oh, your exit ticket is this kind of problem. It will either be volume or surface area or both. I don't know yet. So if I wanted volume, remember, it's like I just take the area of the base. So we figured out the area of the base. If the top is 40, then the bottom is 40. So that area is 40 down there. And then it's like I just keep stacking that up. And the number of times I stack it up is that. I just take the base times that height. So it's like I stack 40 up 6 times. So 6 times 40 is the volume. So 240 should have been your volume. You didn't notice the volume for a rectangular prism, you just multiply all three numbers together. 6 times 4 times 10. I'd rather you understand it, but if you just memorize for a rectangular, now that doesn't work for a cylinder or any other rectangular prism, but for this one rectangular, or for this one prism, rectangular prism, that does work. Multiply all three numbers. For volume, don't do that for surface area. All right, so really quickly, I'm going to show you, just remember that's 40 down there, because we'll need the base, and this was a 10 and a 4. We're going to need perimeter of the base also. Here's your formula, surface area, 2 times the base, plus, I think that's it, right? I don't ever use that, but it doesn't matter what it is. 2 times, 2 times the base pH. So then for volume, it is just base times height. And again, the capital B is the area of the base. Don't just put one number there. They will never, ever, at least not in anything I've seen, give you the area of the base. They'll give you the length of the sides, and you have to know to calculate the area of the base. So with that in mind, we just said, we already figured it out earlier. That's 2 times 40, because I calculated the area of the base, 10 times 4, plus the perimeter, all the sides added up, or there is a formula for it too. But, so that was surface area. Yeah, we'll get the same answer. We just did it. We'll get the same answer, but yeah. So that would be 10 plus 10 is 20. 4 plus 4 is 8. So 28 is the perimeter. And then times, we said, I need to write that in, I guess. We said 6 was the height. So now you just put that in a calculator, and that's your answer, which, again, you should get the same thing. You shouldn't get a different answer. You do it a different way. So it should be, what's that, 80 plus... what's 6 to 120 plus 40? So 168 plus 80 should be 168 plus 80, so 248. Again, you should always, the surface area is the surface area. You shouldn't get a different number because you use a different method. 248. So base times height's a lot easier. We already figured out the base is an area of 40. Then we just multiply, which is what we did when we did it anyway, the other way. So the area is 40. I didn't say this in any other class, so this is probably a recording I'm going to do, because I could have said this. There's no rule, kind of like when we did perimeter and area on a two-dimensional object. There's no rule saying, oh, the volume's always higher, or the surface area is always higher. Like, it depends on how big the shape is, what dimensions, I guess. Like, is it long and skinny? Is it more like that's not the right word I'm looking for. Is it more like every side's sort of the same length? It depends. So sometimes perimeter could be bigger. Sometimes the surface area could be bigger. Sometimes the volume could be bigger. You don't know until you solve it out. All right, so here's what I want you to do. Tons of time. So we're going to do a cylinder now. So again, I told you, they're not just going to give you the base and the perimeter. You have to come up here and understand circumference is the perimeter when you're doing a cylinder, because the bases are circles and perimeter means the circumference. So you're going to have to replace perimeter with the circumference of the base. When you do the area, you have to find the area of a circle. But you get these formulas. You don't have to memorize those. Real quick. I want you to work on this. I you have a phone call to make 6th period with me. I had a phone call to make 6th period. You don't know that? Oh, here we go. All right, so here's what I'm going to give you. I'm not going to draw it in the figure. You want to, and you should draw the figure so you can later, like once we work this out, which we may not even get done with it, but that way you can kind of see where the numbers came from if you have the figure. So the diameter is 12. Height is 10. I want to know surface area and volume. That cylinder. This I'm going to use, I'm just basically showing you the top face or the bottom, whichever one you want to call it. And I'm going to use that to then figure out the perimeter and or the circumference and the area of the top and bottom. So that's not part of anything you have to do. Not really. We get out at 9:54, I think I said. So we'll start this in like 5 minutes. I want to make sure we get this all recorded. I didn't get to it in the other classes. I'll give you 5 minutes to do as much as you can do. See? See? Did you hear what I said? Yeah. Yeah. I actually was going to talk there. See if you compare it. I just don't ever have time. Plus, I feel bad. My dog says, "Hey, the kid's already wrong." You know, what time do you guys do it? 5:30. Oh, it's late? Oh, that might be doable sometimes. Although then I feel bad about going home and finally gets out of the cage. And I'm like, okay, now you have to. Well, bad dad. Bad dad. Sometimes we want to come out of the cage. I don't know. All you have before, so don't sit there and do nothing. Like this is the time when you're supposed to be working. This is what gets parent phone calls home. This and shrugging your shoulders when I ask questions. I walk around and you're not doing anything at all. I tell parents, I can fix mistakes. I can't fix a blank thing. And that's absolutely true. If I see what you're doing wrong, we can work to fix it. If I have no idea where you're at, then you better be able to do something to get a formula. We'll give you a hint. What's something we need typically when it comes to circles? A measurement of a circle. Well, pi we will use, but that's not really a measurement of the circle. That's a number that comes from seeing a circle. It's a measurement of kind of like diameter is a measurement of a circle. Pi is always the same number. What's a measurement? Another measurement of a circle besides diameter. Yeah, but this one changes depending on the circle. Radius. So you need to know how to find the radius from the diameter. So what do we do? What do we do to find the radius from diameter? Multiply with all the way around. Yeah, radius is half the diameter. So if I have a diameter that is 12, the radius would be from the middle of the circle out to the edge. So the green is the diameter, the red would be the radius. And you'll see that one formula uses diameter, so you can use that for one of the formulas, but one of them uses radius, so you have to have the radius for that. Another minute or so. Let's see what you. So, should you get the formula?
Like you can be shipping out.
Yeah, that's not the biggest one. That's installed. Oh, that's the diameter. Use that diameter. So hopefully you're finding out that just because you got formula doesn't make you speed.
A lot bigger than the US. We would have got to that somewhere else in the where it was. No content. Strength. Definitely processes.
That's a number that's in there, but there's more to it than that. Remember, surface area is all the area. Like you got to know the area of the bases, the top and the bottom. You got to know the area of the wrap, all of that. You got to know all three of those and then add them all three together. And the top and the bottom will be the same number. No, I told you whatever. You got to figure something out.
Well over 6.
Well, again, you have a formula. I should say a formula written down. There's no reason to say I'm lost. Like this is what gets you a parent phone call home. They have a formula right in front of them. All they can do is write the formula down and plug stuff in.
Wait, so S.
So if you haven't written the formula down, that would have been step 1. So I'm going to give you the process because you got practice tomorrow, but I better see you working tomorrow on this. The formula for surface area. I'll just write it up here. 2 times that plus 2. Actually, not 2. I mean, you should know how to find some of this. This is, at the very least, you have the height. I literally say height right there. So you can plug your number in. This is what I'm talking about by effort. That is effort. You can try something, even if you don't understand. You can try.
That's it.
So, well, now we're going to solve it. So, capital B means what? Area. Make sure you understand. It means the area of the base. I need to know that. So, I'm kind of taking this and moving it to here, like I said I would. I need to know what is the area, the space inside that circle. That's what I need to find out. And I do that with the formula for the area of a circle. You have that on the sheet. Area of a circle is pi r squared. So I take pi. I don't care if you use 3.14 or the button right now. Times, we already said 6 is the radius. I told you that a minute ago up on the board. That's the formula for the area of the base. So that circle's area, is that the one that's 113? Some people had 113 down. Is that what you got that from? We had 113. Is that what you did? So that was it. So I'm just going to really round off because I don't remember the exact numbers. That base, that bottom circle is 113. So what else do I know? Immediately, without doing any more math. What else do I know? Well, I do know that, but before that, what else do I know? I already knew the height of it before. And Isla, what else do I know? Top is 113. We just said you got two exact same circles. So that is also an area of 113 on the top. So now all I need to know is what is the area of this wrap all the way around? It's actually just a rectangle. I didn't do this yet. Oh yeah, your exit ticket is that rectangular prism. I thought I said that, but I didn't. You're going to have an exit ticket on surface area or volume or maybe both. So the wrap is actually just a rectangle. That's why the formula for that circle is the perimeter, because you're just, when you find the perimeter, you're finding how long this is for this rectangle that was the wrap, and you're multiplying times the height. So the perimeter is the circumference. So I need to take circumference of a circle. That's the perimeter. Again, you have that formula. I'm going to kind of bring it down here. That is 2. Actually, I'm going to do the other one. It's the diameter times pi. So if you take that, so the diameter we have, as it's given to us. So if I multiply that, was that the one that was 37 or something like that? Is that what I saw? Anybody do that? I saw that on something paper. Who has that? 30 what? What is it? 37. It was, I'll just round it to 37. So the diameter times pi is 37. Then I have to multiply that times the height. So 370 is that. I have two 113s. So whatever that comes out to be should have been your answer. 596, somewhere around there. So write that down. That surface area, we'll do volume. Volume's actually easier. That was the wrap. That's the surface area of the wrap. It's the circumference, right? Is it this? So that's this wrap, right? The circumference is this top one, which is what I need. And then I just multiply it times by. So again, tomorrow's a big practice day. The point of today was to show you that formulas don't solve all the problems, and we need to push. It's pretty much everybody's fault.
So we are in a coordinate for the company that.
You just have basketball? You're coming to you can't be at the doors, you don't think? So I'll go down to the doors. Like I go down there and wait for people that are gonna need to get in. Well, where are you at before this? Like fifth period, where you at?
I'm in H.
I mean, if you, as long as you can get down here in 5 minutes,
Okay.
I think you're fine. If you're definitely coming, right? Besna, you're definitely gonna be here, right? No way you're not gonna be here, right? And I'll make sure.
You'll mess with you. Posting a video today?
Yeah, I just recorded this class actually. So I recorded this class and last class, which means I'll have to edit it, which that may take a minute because it's not super fast. It takes it a while. But if I can get that done, my planning is 6th. So if I can get that done, then I'll go ahead and get it up today.